Hi guys, so the other day I watched LS do a video. I know it's not her, like she did not come up with this idea, but she was the one who I saw. I will look through and find who came up with it in the description box. It's where you pick out your shadows and or your like palettes, and then you pick out your favorite shadow and let everyone know. I just thought it was a really good idea, so I picked out 10 palettes today and let's get into it. So the first palette I have today is a customizable palette. This is a Sugar Pill 12 pan palette. I did lose one of my shadows in this. It was my favorite shadow that I had. Unfortunately, it was like the green cash one where it was just like really green and sparkly. It was my favorite shadow, but unfortunately it broke. So this shade down here, it's a Kat Von D shadow. I just depotted it and stuck it in there. My favorite shadow out of this though is definitely this one right here. I believe it's called Kitty Parade or Kitten Parade, one of the two. And it's just this really gorgeous pink tone that has like a gold shift to it. I really like it and it looks really pretty on the lid and it's very reflective. The next palette I have is my Urban Decay Naked Heat. The mirror. My favorite shade in this is definitely Lumber right here. It is also kind of a pinky tone. It's really a copper with a pink overlay. It's very pretty. I don't wear this palette too often because I feel like it doesn't have enough range of shades. I don't know. I find you just get the same look out of every single one. But Lumber is definitely a really pretty shade. So the next one, we might as well do another Urban Decay. So this is my Urban Decay Naked 2 Basics. I think it's obvious which one is my favorite shade. Right here, it's Frisk. Obviously, I have hit pan. It is just the most perfect transition shade. It's really pretty cool tone right here, and I just really love it. I really need to pick it up and start using it again. So next, let's get into my Ablaze palette, my Smashbox Ablaze palette. This is in my Finish 13 by Halloween. I have been going into it. It is showing some love with some little divots and stuff in it. I really use this shade over here and this shade right here. This orange shade right here, which is called Torch, is easily my favorite shade in the palette. It's a really gorgeous tangerine-y color, and when you blend it out, it's just so pretty. And when you use this top shade right here and mix it into it, it becomes like just the prettiest creamsicle color ever. Everyone's doing these blown out yellow looks these days, and I've actually been doing like a tangerine-y look with it because I just think it's so pretty. My next palette is going to be my only Marc Jacobs item I own, which is the Editorial palette. I don't think they make this anymore. My favorite shade is called Pleather Python. It is the most chunky gold you will ever use, but it just gives the prettiest effect. I'm gonna have to really buff it in because it's really chunky, but if you're willing to work with it, it is just like the coolest like dirty gold color ever, and it makes the eyes pop. It's really pretty. I'm gonna go into another limited edition palette, and it is obviously the Master by Mario palette. I love it. Anastasia, they should have made this permanent. It is such a good palette. Anyways, my favorite shade in it easily is Bronx. I love Bronx. I have a love for greeny tones, like that dirty khaki green. Oh my god, that would be really pretty together. These two shades would be super pretty together. And here's Bronx. It's just kind of like a dirty olivey khaki green. It's really pretty. It makes such a gorgeous smoky eye. I love it. Anytime I want to do a smoky eye, this palette is it. So might as well do my next Anastasia palette. I have the Modern Renaissance here. It's very dirty looking. My 2-year-old got a hold of this palette, so some of the shades are a little messed up looking. I have tried repressing some, such as right here, Love Letter. It was destroyed, so I had to repress it. My favorite shade in here, though, of all the pretty berries and everything in it, my favorite shade is golden ochre right here. It's just such a unique transition shade in my mind. It's like the color of wheat, and it's just one of those shades for me where it's like just a little off of my natural skin tone right now. I'm much paler in the winter, like I'm as fair as you can get, and I mean, this shade is just like really pretty fluffed into the crease, but it's just that perfect, like almost eraser shade for me right now. So it just like you buff it on and it just blends everything out seamlessly. Had to take a brief intermission for the toddler. He's in the next room watching Paw Patrol and eating popcorn, so I guess he needed a drink with it as well. So the next palette I'm going to get into is my Too Faced Peachy Mattes. This is a newer palette to me. I really waited quite a while to get it. I just recently purchased it, I believe in March. I don't know why I waited so long. It's so pretty. In this, once again, they got those pretty berry tones, peachy tones, super pretty. And I am a peach tea kind of gal. Like this shade just, I don't know what it is. It really gets me going. I have a couple singles in this kind of shade because I really like them. Like this is the kind of shade too that I have in my outer corner and in my crease. It's just so pretty. It's really nice as like a natural smoky eye during the day, as like a one and done, and it works into other looks just really well. It's great. So my next palette is the Lustrous Shadow Palette. I'm pretty sure this is limited edition. I'm really not sure. It's Makeup Forever. I love it. It's so pretty. I think this is like Blada. I'm not positive. Either way, it's gorgeous. I love this palette. I didn't hear anyone speak about this palette when it first came out or ever. I randomly went into a Sephora and I picked it up and I was like, why are people not talking about this? So my favorite shade in this is the green again. I love me some greens, but it's just such a pretty matte green and it's very khaki. Once again, it's just one of those shades that looks really pretty, like all over the lid. And in this palette, I find like a lot of the stuff actually matches with it, even though it doesn't look like it would. Like this champagne-y shade looks super good with it. It just, if you pop it in the inner corner and have this all over the lid and blown up into the crease, it's just a really simple smoky eye and it's really pretty. So now we're on to our last palette. It is one of the pre-made MAC palettes. Super boring, but super pretty. I do some wedding makeup for family members and friends and stuff like that. I'm not a professional, but when I'm asked, I usually do it because I really enjoy it. This to me is like the perfect palette to have to do makeup for wedding parties or proms or just doing anyone's makeup. It's so pretty. It's such a variety. And I have probably what would be most people's least favorite shade is my favorite shade. It's this one right here, Honey Pots, right in the middle. Anyways, most people probably wouldn't like this shade because it's really chunky and it's really glittery, but that's what I like about it. I really enjoy doing simple looks and then just patting like a glittery top coat kind of color over top. I actually have this shadow in a single as well that my hubby bought for me. And I do find that it performs a little different from this palette than from my single shadow. Like right here is my single shadow, and I feel like my single shadow is just like slightly a different tone. It's almost like a little bit pinkier, just like a touch. But I love it. It's just one of those shades that if you wash one color all over the lid and then you take this and just pat it in the center and it's like the easiest halo eye ever with no effort. It's gorgeous and it really just adds a shimmer and a pop to your look. I love it. So those are all of my favorite shades from my palettes. I really like this idea. I think more people should do this video. I think it's really interesting to do. If you guys have done this, please let me know. I think it's fun to see that, like, I don't really, like, I have a little bit of a trend of like what my favorite colors are, but they are kind of like all over the place. And it's very interesting to see that I don't gravitate necessarily towards like the bright pops. I really am gravitated towards more of the less unique colors. So that's everything I have for today. I hope you guys all have a great day. Bye.